A 12,000-ton horizontal glass skyscraper is currently hanging 250 meters in the sky, resting on pendulum bearings that let it float independently during catastrophic earthquakes. This reality-bending megastructure in Chongqing is part of an aggressive infrastructure surge that proves Western construction is operating a full century behind Asian development. While traditional cities remain frozen in the past, engineers here are digging 16 stories into the bowels of the Earth and building massive skyscraper waterfalls that completely drain regional power grids. The architectural paradigm has shifted permanently, leaving global superpower rivals facing an impossible engineering gap they can no longer close. Join us and let's discover how China built the impossible and left the West a century behind. Let's go.
Number 12. National Grand Theater. A massive titanium and glass dome measuring over 200 meters wide rises directly out of an artificial lake in the heart of Beijing. The National Grand Theater completely abandons traditional walls and columns, creating an island of art completely surrounded by water. Visitors must enter through a long underground transparent tunnel that runs 60 feet beneath the surface of the lake, looking up at the water shimmering above their heads. This structural design makes the entire complex appear like a giant titanium egg floating effortlessly on a tranquil pond. The exterior shell is covered in 18,000 titanium panels and over 1,000 sheets of ultra-clear glass, which reflect the changing sky and prevent any visible seams from breaking the illusion of a smooth, organic entity. Building this architectural marvel required welding specialized materials with absolute precision to withstand immense water pressure and extreme seasonal temperature shifts. The interior houses 3 separate world-class performance halls, each acoustically optimized using advanced computational modeling that eliminates the need for electronic amplification. Engineers had to excavate deeper than any other structure in the capital to ensure the massive weight remained balanced without disrupting the surrounding water table. Submerging massive infrastructure beneath a lake was only the beginning of a terrifyingly vast ambition. The next logical step was engineering entire independent weather systems.
Number 11. New Century Global Center. 1,700,000 square meters of internal floor space makes this singular building the largest freestanding structure on the planet. The New Century Global Center in Chengdu is so immensely colossal that it could easily hold 20 copies of the Sydney Opera House directly under its massive roof. Standing 100 meters high, its footprint stretches over a vast area capable of containing an entire synthetic seaside community. The interior features a massive artificial beach with a giant LED screen that spans over 150 meters to project simulated horizons, sunrises, and ocean breezes. Over 1,000 luxury hotel rooms encircle this simulated paradise, alongside a massive shopping mall, an IMAX theater complex, and a full-scale Olympic ice skating rink. To support this unbelievable volume without internal pillars obstructing the view, engineers deployed a network of thick reinforced steel arches and a highly advanced climate control system that generates localized weather patterns inside the facility. This building operates like a self-contained artificial city, where citizens can live, shop, and vacation without ever catching a single glimpse of the actual sky outside. The scale of this achievement demonstrates a profound capability to build completely independent indoor ecosystems that defy local geographical constraints. Simulating a synthetic ocean indoors eventually pushed engineers to conquer the fierce and violent physics of the real open sea.
Only 1% of people know the dark truth behind what we are about to show you next. If you want to be part of the few who actually know what's happening in the world, subscribe and leave a like right now. Done? Look at this.
Number 10. Guangzhou Circle. Soaring 138 meters into the sky,
A giant copper disc completely breaks every established rule of conventional Western architecture right beside the Pearl River. The Guangzhou Circle features a perfect 50-meter-wide empty hole right through its center, making it look like a massive cosmic portal or an ancient artifact waiting to be activated. Designed by an Italian architect, this structure was mathematically calculated to interact directly with its natural environment. When the building reflects on the calm water flowing beneath it, the physical structure and its reflection merge to form a perfect number 8, which represents ultimate fortune and infinity in local tradition. Engineering a circular high-rise presented a series of mechanical nightmares, particularly because vertical elevators cannot travel along curved outer walls. To solve this severe functional problem, the core circulation shafts were hidden inside massive hidden vertical pillars that support the entire weight of the building. The exterior is clad in thousands of custom copper plates that shine like pure gold under sunlight, turning the corporate headquarters into a surreal visual monument. Achieving this balance required advanced computational software to ensure strong wind forces could pass safely through the hollow center. Leaving huge empty spaces inside a skyscraper proved highly effective against the wind, a concept that soon saved a twisted megatower from being destroyed by deadly coastal typhoons.
Number 9. Shanghai Tower. Exactly 632 meters above the street, a massive asymmetrical column dominates the financial skyline while actively fighting off deadly Category 5 hurricanes. The Shanghai Tower is the second tallest building on the planet, engineered with a terrifying 120-degree structural twist that looks like a giant glass towel being wrung out. This specific spiraling shape is not just for aesthetic appeal. It reduces devastating wind loads on the building by an incredible 24%, preventing the megastructure from snapping in half during brutal coastal storms. Because the tower is built on soft clay-heavy soil rather than solid bedrock, engineers had to drive nearly 1,000 massive steel pillars more than 80 meters deep into the earth, pouring enough concrete to fill several sports stadiums just to anchor the foundation. The most mind-blowing feature is hidden near the very top of the structure, where a massive 1,000-ton tuned mass damper swings like a giant pendulum. This heavy magnetic counterweight actively shifts against the sway of the building, keeping the offices completely stable even when typhoon winds are screaming against the outer glass. Moving 1,000 tons of solid metal to fight the forces of nature requires immense physical engineering. But physical brute force was eventually replaced by an invisible power, allowing a purely digital brain to generate fluid alien structures directly out of nothing.
Number 8. Chengdu Science Fiction Museum. 12 short months was all it took to construct an interplanetary star nebula made of solid steel and concrete on the shores of Jingrong Lake. The Chengdu Science Fiction Museum completely shatters traditional construction timelines by utilizing advanced artificial intelligence algorithms to generate its fluid, parametric architecture. From an aerial view, the building resembles an expanding stellar cloud or an extraterrestrial base that has gently settled over the water, presenting a layout with zero sharp angles or traditional corners. The expansive roof is outfitted with thousands of transparent photovoltaic glass panels that harvest solar energy during the day, while embedded night lighting pulses rhythmically to make the facility look like a spaceship with active thrusters. Inside, the walls flow seamlessly into one another, creating an immersive playground filled with virtual reality zones, robotics labs, and expansive exhibition halls beneath a giant central skylight. Coordinating thousands of laborers to achieve this unprecedented speed required the creation of a three-dimensional digital twin, a real-time virtual clone of the project that guided every single phase of construction simultaneously. This hyper-technological facility demonstrates how computational design can replace manual blueprints to achieve impossible speeds and complex organic forms. This unique digital speed redefined heavy engineering, clearing a violent path to drop a mega hotel right into a deep abandoned crater.
Number 7. Shimao Wonderland Intercontinental. 88 meters below the surface of the Earth, an abandoned rock quarry has been transformed into a subterranean luxury resort that directly defies the standard laws of architecture. The Shimao Wonderland Intercontinental completely flips the traditional concept of building toward the sky by anchoring 16 of its 18 total floors directly along the sheer cliffs of a deep geological scar. The bottom 2 levels are completely submerged within a large artificial lake built at the base of the canyon, replacing windows with thick, custom-engineered acrylic walls that look directly into massive underwater aquariums. To prevent severe seismic forces from crashing the building against the jagged rock face, engineers developed an advanced structural suspension framework utilizing heavy, flexible steel beams that actively absorb shockwaves. A stunning central glass waterfall cascade drops down the entire height of the structure, matching the scale of the canyon walls while serving as a functional architectural anchor. This inversion of space proves that unusable industrial wastelands can be repurposed through aggressive geotechnical engineering without destroying local topographies. Overcoming the immense thermal challenges of managing airflow and temperature deep inside a rocky abyss required an unprecedented ventilation system. Mastering underground airflow was vital, but soon they ripped massive geometric holes straight through the center of standing towers, just to let the violent wind pass through.
Number 6. Morpheus Hotel. A massive steel grid wraps around a soaring high-rise in Macau, forming the world's very first free-form exoskeleton skyscraper that completely eliminates internal support columns. The Morpheus Hotel stands an engineering miracle designed by the legendary architect Zaha Hadid, featuring a complex net of aluminum and steel that bears the entire load of the structural mass. This structural layout allowed architects to blast 3 gigantic, fluid voids directly through the center of the tower, creating a shifting appearance that looks like a dense liquid melting or a living cellular organism undergoing a sudden biological mutation. Constructing this algorithmic puzzle presented an intense logistical nightmare, because every single one of the thousands of curved glass panels and metal joints possesses a completely unique shape, meaning no 2 components are identical. Calculations required the deployment of advanced military aviation software just to model how this asymmetrical outer shell would respond to the high-velocity typhoons that frequently batter the coastline. The interior layout remains completely open and uninterrupted, providing vast spaces that would be physically impossible to achieve using standard internal concrete pillars. This achievement proves that computational architecture can transform raw metal into an organic, breathing sculpture. Removing internal pillars changed everything, paving the way for an impossible leaning loop that completely bends the rigid laws of gravity over a capital city.
Number 5. CCTV Headquarters. 2 massive leaning towers tilt sharply at a 75-degree angle before connecting at the summit to form a continuous 3-dimensional structural loop that completely redefines the metropolitan skyline of Beijing. The CCTV headquarters completely breaks away from the traditional vertical skyscraper template by executing a design affectionately known as the Big Pants. The most terrifying aspect of this structural feat is the 75-meter-long cantilevered bridge connecting the towers, which hangs entirely suspended over a massive void at a height of 160 meters in the air. To prevent the leaning towers from collapsing inward during the construction phase, engineers had to wait until the coldest hours of the morning to connect the massive steel joints, ensuring the metal was fully contracted. Because the capital city sits on a highly active seismic zone, standard rigid building techniques would have resulted in catastrophic failure during an earthquake. To solve this, engineers wrapped the facade in a visible external web of steel diamonds, where the density of the metal pattern corresponds exactly to the physical stress concentrated on that specific area of the structure. This structural system creates a dynamic envelope that redistributes stress forces across the entire building during tectonic movements. Defying pure gravity to connect towers in midair was a real triumph, opening the door for an impossibly large golden roof designed to gracefully handle a massive global human swarm.
Number 4. Beijing Daxing International Airport. On September 25th of 2019, a hyper-futuristic aviation hub shaped like a massive golden starfish officially opened its gates to change global transit forever. Beijing Daxing International Airport spans an unbelievable 700,000 square meters, making its main terminal the largest single-building airport terminal on the planet. Designed by the visionary architect Zaha Hadid, the structure features a brilliant central hub with 5 organic arms extending outward, allowing passengers to walk from security to any gate in less than 8 minutes. The most remarkable engineering feat is the massive roof, which is supported by just 8 C-shaped columns that blend seamlessly into the structure, allowing a massive sea of natural light to flood the entire interior through a giant central skylight. This elimination of traditional grid pillars creates an open, fluid space that handles over 70 million passengers annually without causing bottlenecks or crowd confusion. Beneath the terminal sits a fully integrated high-speed railway station, requiring engineers to install over 1,000 seismic isolation cushions to completely absorb the ground vibrations generated by bullet trains roaring directly beneath the building. This integration of transport layers establishes an entirely new paradigm for infrastructure connectivity that leaves traditional Western transit hubs looking ancient. Controlling millions of people required smooth flow, a concept that soon inspired a massive glass tower to vomit a violent waterfall.
Legion Building. Cascading directly down the glass facade of a soaring metropolitan skyscraper, a monumental 108-meter artificial waterfall shocks spectators across the city of Guiyang. The Legion Building introduces an element of pure cyberpunk fiction by embedding a monumental water feature directly into the external envelope of a corporate office tower. To successfully pump thousands of gallons of water to the 35th floor, engineers built a monstrous subterranean pumping station equipped with 4 giant high-pressure industrial hydraulic pumps salvaged from massive river dam projects. Operating this architectural spectacle requires an unbelievable amount of electrical power, generating extreme structural stress and acoustic vibrations that shake the concrete frame of the tower. Because of these intense energetic demands, the waterfall is strictly reserved for special celebrations, running for short intervals to prevent draining the regional grid. The falling water does not go to waste, as an advanced network of hidden structural funnels and high-tech filtration systems built into the public plaza collects, purifies, and continuously recycles the liquid back down into the underground reservoirs. This aggressive triumph of aesthetic spectacle over standard energetic logic highlights a philosophy where architecture serves as an ultimate display of technological dominance. Harnessing extreme fluid dynamics proved they could control water, clearing a path for a massive bionic fortress entirely sculpted by the freezing winter snow.
A seamless white aluminum structure measuring nearly 80,000 square meters curves smoothly along the frozen wetlands of Harbin, mimicking the natural contours of snow and ice carved by brutal Siberian winds. The Harbin Opera House completely rejects the rigid linear boxes of traditional theatrical architecture by wrapping its massive performance halls in a fluid, continuous bionic shell. This extreme aerodynamic shape serves a critical functional purpose, allowing heavy winter snowstorms to slide cleanly off the roof rather than accumulating and causing a catastrophic structural collapse. Inside, the design creates a dramatic sensory shock as visitors step into a vast entrance hall covered in towering glass skylights that illuminate walls made entirely of smooth, three-dimensionally carved ashwood. These wooden surfaces were mathematically sculpted to reflect sound waves with absolute precision, achieving flawless acoustics across the main auditorium without relying on a single electronic speaker or amplifier. Constructing this fluid mountain required building custom digital models to coordinate the exact placement of thousands of unique aluminum panels without leaving any hard edges. This integration of landscape and engineering showcases an ability to build functional art in the most hostile climates on Earth. This ultimate triumph over frozen environments proved they could mold any massive shape, clearing an iron path for a literal monster that rests flat directly across the clouds.
Raffles City Chongqing. 250 meters above the chaotic streets of Chongqing, a 12,000-ton horizontal glass skyscraper lies completely flat across the tops of 4 massive vertical towers. Raffles City Chongqing features an incredible structure known as the Crystal, a 300-meter-long aerial tube that looks like a giant interplanetary spacecraft has docked directly onto the city center. Lifting this monumental steel cylinder piece by piece into the sky represented one of the most perilous engineering challenges of the 21st century, requiring specialized hydraulic strand jacks to hoist massive sections into place over populated urban zones. The Skybridge houses lush botanical gardens, glass-bottom observation decks hanging over pure air, and massive swimming pools that offer panoramic views of the rivers meeting below. Because the metropolis is highly prone to extreme high-velocity wind currents and regular seismic events, engineers could not bolt the massive horizontal tube rigidly to the vertical columns. Instead, the entire 12,000-ton structure rests on giant pendulum bearings that allow it to slide and sway completely independent of the towers beneath it, effectively neutralizing the brutal physics of earthquakes. This horizontal skyscraper represents a total restructuring of urban space, proving that the future of city design is no longer limited to vertical lines. It stands as absolute proof that the global fight for structural dominance has permanently shifted to the east.
If you thought this was terrifying, you are not ready for what they found in the video on your screen. Click it right now. The truth is worse than you think.